Thank you. We appreciate your time. Tell us your name and the organization you work for. But one thing about when a man and a woman have issues culturally in the Lugbara cultural institution, there's this notion that a woman is not supposed to report. If she reports, the matter goes to the cultural perspective and pays. Either go to a cow, and yet legally this is not in our constitution.
Thank you so much. My name is Rehema Minala and I'm a legal officer working with Fida Uganda, the Aru'Baa office. And as Fida Uganda, we are champions of human rights, especially rights of women, where we advocate for inclusive, accessible legal aid services at all levels. This aspect of Aru'Baa custom, this is a custom commonly known for denying women or the vulnerable access to legal aid services, because they believe that every issue should be settled at a home level or maybe in the cultural institution level. So in this case, a woman is denied the right to access legal aid services. For that example, I would give the right to go to police and the right to go to court or the right to come to Fida, because they believe if a woman does so, a child would, one of the children or the children the woman has with that very man would end up falling ill. And for that to be cleansed, a woman would be requested, not even requested, it's an order, would be ordered to pay either a cow, but most commonly they pay a fine of a goat. This has been a very huge hindrance to access to justice for our women at all levels, because we know that talking about GBV in and out, one of the issues here is that many women don't report these cases, and if you go into why they don't report the cases, they clearly tell you Aru'Baa custom. But why Aru'Baa custom? If the constitution is clear that any custom that is inconsistent with the constitution is null and void, why would we have a custom that still stands, that bars a person from accessing legal services, that bars a person from fighting for their rights? Wouldn't that be something that is really an issue for West Nile and Lugbara as a whole? I believe that every person has that right as per the constitution to fight for their rights. If I've been wronged, I have all the rights to access legal aid services. I have all the rights to go to police. I have all the rights to report to court, because this is my right. And if someone tells you not to do so, they are clearly infringing with your rights and access to justice. So for women who are suffering through this Aru'Baa custom, many of them their voices have gone silent. Like the police will tell you, they can record 100 cases in a month, but at the end of the year, those cases will have dropped. Maybe many of these just choose to stay home, or otherwise, it is usually the Aru'Baa custom that forces them to stay out of the cases. They are even forced not to go back to police to prosecute the cases. But look at cases of maybe defilement and rape. These are cases that cannot be settled at home level, especially defilement. You cannot start to settle a defilement case through your cultural institutions, through the elders. That's not their concern, it's beyond them. This is a state case. So this happens because these people choose to settle these cases, that you're not allowed to report these cases. And these are the reasons why we have high rates of teenage pregnancies. Because if a girl cannot access the police, cannot report a case to police, then they will not have the access to legal aid, they will not have the access to medical services that would help them prevent the pregnancy within the reasonable time. So for me, Aru'Baa custom is a bar to access to justice, and it should stop.
So how can the various stakeholders and activists come together with the Lugbara Cultural Institution to ensure there's understanding of this culture, but a better solution is provided other than having rigid implementation of the culture?
Thank you so much. The Lugbara Cultural Institution have a pronouncement in place. It has 25 points, and Aru'Baa custom is the 24th. So this pronouncement came out in 2021, and as the partners, as the activists, as the institutions and the government as well, we want to sit down and review the pronouncement, because if that Aru'Baa still stands, it will be contradicting the constitution, and that is very unconstitutional. Any law, any custom that is inconsistent with the constitution, I repeat, is unconstitutional. So it has to be dealt away with. So in these ways, we can have that pronouncement. We can look through it, review it, and guide the cultural institution on the best ways. But at all levels, no matter how small that fine can be for any person, I still believe it will bar them from accessing justice. And anything that bars a person from accessing justice is unconstitutional because it's their right. So even if they wake up one day and tell us that they can share GNATs, yes, they can share GNATs, but for someone, that fear alone, that you'll be subjected to a committee, a cultural institution committee, where they will sit and say, why did you report? Why didn't you do this instead? It is just in a way barring them from accessing their rights. And for me, that is totally wrong, because there are some cases that could be confidential. What if a father has defiled their own child? Because that woman, the mother of that child, will decide to go to police. But imagine, through that whole process where you have to sit with a cultural institution, discuss the matter, did it really happen? They'll be re-traumatizing that child and the mother as well. So not everything has to go through these informal systems. Some things have to just go through to the formal systems to avoid delays and also to save lives. Many people decide to go and even commit suicide because their lives have become like hell for them. If you cannot be supported by your own family, what's the other option? So for me, I believe, much as we want to support them review this pronouncement, I still stand my ground against the Aru'Baa custom. It is wrong, it's unfair, it's unconstitutional at all levels. So I just suggest that they do away with that very custom. We can have other alternatives. For example, a person would be clearly allowed to report cases, but they can also have an option of mediation. But that mediation should not be a must. There are cases that don't need mediation, like I've said, defilement. So if there are options like mediation, let it not be like if you report there will be a fine. Let it rather be we can handle a mediation, but there are no fines. Mine is to remove all those fines against access to justice.
Finally, women who, okay, girls, but also women, once they leave homes, they do many times lose land that they are supposed to own. And then when they have issues at the husband's place, they equally lose land the other side. Give us a light on this so that our women out there understand they have right to life, to own land.
The law is clear on the right to property. Whether you're a man or a woman, you have all the rights to own property in Uganda. You can own it in different ways. You can purchase it, you can get it through a gift, or you can inherit it. So this part of women inheriting land and then they are denied this very land because their brothers, their uncles think women do not own land is very wrong. Our constitution, our laws are very clear on ownership of property. A girl can own property, a boy can own property. Same as a woman who is married has all the rights to own or to inherit property from her father and her mother when they die. So it's regardless of anything, whether they are married or not, they have all the rights to inherit property from their families, just as they have all the rights to inherit property from their husbands. This is a common practice where women are denied these rights. Women are subjected to too many conditions to access these properties, and usually they are just allowed to use them, but they cannot do anything. They cannot sell, they cannot take loans or anything using the land. So the law is clear, Succession Act is clear, the Constitution is clear. If a parent of a woman dies, they have all the rights to inherit that property from them, just like any other child has, just like the boys do have. If it's the woman's husband who has died, she has all the rights to benefit. She's a beneficiary everywhere, at her husband's side, the mother's side, the father's side, just like any other child would be. So that's very clear. I advise every woman out there to understand their right to inheritance. They should not be fought by maybe the uncles, the aunties, or the brothers saying that they don't have the right to own property because they are just women. Being a woman is enough for them to fight for their rights. So I call upon them all to know their rights and also to support the other vulnerable people who have not understood their rights until now. Inheritance is a right for all the children and spouses.
I accept that the negative cultural, we call them sticky norms. Norms that are part and parcel of us the people. At times it is demanded by the society that something must happen like this. people will run quickly and say these are bad cultural practices. They may not be cultural. This could be traditional. Some are just mere myths. Something somebody imposes and says, once you do this, this will happen. And when you follow at times it doesn't happen. Here we have a very terrible issue. They call it traditionally Aru'Baa. That is when somebody, a lady, takes the spouse to court, the formal courts. This lady is said to have broken, I don't know how many thousands of laws, according to culture, they say. And this is not addressed. Once we don't address this, we put these people at risk, meaning they are denied the right. I want to thank the Law Society of Uganda and Fida for supporting this. They do it for free and have asked these people always to approach them. That's a very, very good move. What can a cultural institution do in order to improve performance and other things you asked? We continue to do mobilization and sensitization to everybody. We have linked this up to the grassroots. We have clan leaders who are actually the custodians of culture. And these are the people in whose hands everything actually stands. And these are from time to time people who change their minds. You know, for them, they believe at times it is through here that they can earn themselves the things. And we have tried to now rectify situations. We have elders. These elders exist in 3 different forms. We have political elders. NRM has, UPC has, DP has, NUP has, and another political party has that, elders. Then we come to religious elders. In the mosque, they are there. You go to the churches, the cathedrals, they are there. But the third category is the clan leaders. These are the people who are custodians of the culture. You know, when you mix this in your work, you get a very wrong result. And at times you get a result that is very disappointing. You get somebody from there say, come to stand here as an elder to chair a discussion about land matter. This is when you will see to it that things change. Somebody can come and claim land of a brother. You know, the females suffer a lot, the women and the girls. This is when somebody loses the spouse, the husband dies. People rush very quickly to property, not other things. They take them away and they say, this is our culture. You are a woman, you have only to be here in this home. I want to thank Right Honorable Speaker Aru'Baa so much for standing to own property. I also had the opportunity to talk on floor of Parliament of Uganda about women inheritance, the Lugbara perspective. It also moved very, very well. Women themselves need to come out, they need to stand and they talk. Because if you want people to talk for you, then that's when they will not do it. People will not know that you are suffering until you tell them, my problem is ABCD. I want to say that for us, we have deliberate meetings, we have public holidays, and for all these things, what we do is that we speak about the rights of women. That's why we're mainly champions. We speak in support of women. We know they're doing the right thing. Most homes we have in the city here, food at the table is brought by women. And when you know what brings food for you to eat at times, you begin to complain, say, why did you cook beans? You should have cooked meat. Without you giving a single cent in this budget, shamelessly, you even end up at times beating her. Now all these things, when they come to our desk, it disappoints us. We have deliberate meetings, we talk at public holidays, we have integrated the SIHA program into the cultural institution programs. When we move out to the field, anytime we talk to the people, we bring in this aspect. I want to thank Minister of Gender also, after thanking SIHA, for producing with the Lugbara pronouncements and policy briefs to guide us on these matters. Women will one day say that it is true that Lugbara is coming up in support of their programs, but it is a very, very slow process. I'm sorry for that, but I pray that one day we shall all achieve the goal together with the women. Long live our women.
Thank you very much. That was very, very clear. And if her team picked, we are not just touching the lives of the women market vendors, but we are also contributing to the Lugbara. I'm throwing this straight to Mercy. That is why we always advocate for the cultural institution, the pronouncement. Now you see why we need it, because it protects women from all these violences.